don't hate you, what we had was fun. Got nothing against your love, but I gotta level up. Now I gotta level up. Welcome, it's the Close the Deal Show. I'm your host, Terrence McCray, rebranding from incarceration. Every week we bring you business information, tips, and insights from entrepreneurs, business professionals, and inspired individuals from the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond, as well as Los Angeles. The Close the Deal Show also features public announcements, Entrepreneur Week, and small business owners. And if you're looking for strategies to help you or educate the public, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining us today. Today I want to talk to you about a company that's making headways but is changing the real estate game. T3 Advisors provides real estate and workplace solutions for the world's most innovative companies. The company's real estate service include tailored brokerage, location advisor, portfolio planning, consultative insight, project management, and ongoing workplace support. And one of the principal partners of this company is here today to talk not just to me, but to you all about team building. So if you're a small team, well, my man, Rollins Stallworth III is going to share you some insights and tips, but most importantly, right, some gems that you could use in your own company. Please welcome Rollins. How you doing, my man?
Appreciate it. I'm doing well.
You're looking it, man. You're looking at it. You know, the last time I saw you, man, you know, it was faith. You know, things happen for a reason. And it's like where you at right now in your own life. So if you could, you know, not just share with me, but share with my viewers a little bit about yourself, you know.
Definitely. I appreciate the opportunity. I think when I think about who I am, how I am, why I am, you know, I think it all comes back to how blessed I've been throughout my life. And when I mean blessed, I mean I've been supported and surrounded by a set of parents and family and coaches and teachers and mentors throughout my life that have allowed me to continue to persevere and grow and take advantage of opportunities that have come about. And with that being said, I sit here today talking to you as a representation of all those people, of my community, of my teachers, of my family, and so I'm originally from Reno, Nevada. Born of two educators. Mom's a first grade teacher. Dad's a high school football coach and longtime teacher. Ended up having the opportunity to attend Stanford University, and that's what brought me to the Bay Area, where I ran track and played football there as well. Ended up.
What year?
So I was 11 to 15. 15 undergrad, 16 got my master's degree. So a pretty good heyday in Stanford. Went to 3 Rose Bowls, a Fiesta Bowl. Ended up going to a Foster Farms Bowl as well. So some good years, some fun times, teammates, blessed experiences. I think that'll play a hand in the conversation later on around my history in athletics and sports playing a big role in who I am and how I operate within a team, how I think about building a team, etc. That gives me a kind of unique perspective.
Fundamentals is important.
It's important, right? It's important. And I think there's a rhyme and a reason why over that 5-year stretch we went 54-5, right? Like we were dominant. We were top 5 in the country every year, and there's a reason to that, and we can get into that, but.
Who did you play with that made it to the NFL?
Some guys. Andrew Luck is one that comes to mind, right? He
just retired.
He just retired.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey is another big name that a lot of folks. Blake Martinez, Ty Montgomery. There's guys out there that's just now fun to see going off and doing what they do in the league, which is always good to see your brothers kind of succeeding and having their hard work pay off at the next level. So it's that was an unbelievable experience that shaped a lot of who I am now. And from there, I ended up having a short stint up in the Canadian Football League for a little bit myself, which was a unique experience. But then came down and was faced with that next transition moment that everyone goes through, whether you're an athlete or not. where I went and did a lot of self-reflection around who I want to be, what I want to be, and why, and specifically what are those components that make up that why, and how are they stacked ranked against one another, right?
How did you recognize that before it actually transpired? You know, some people go through some adversity, and some people, you know, just already know this is the time and this is the moment where you got a lot of party going on in college. Mm-hmm. At what point did you recognize, okay, I can't play no more now? When you say that transition.
No, definitely. I think once again, luckily, I was surrounded by individuals and mentors and people in my life that had been through similar transition moments that I leaned into, that I relied on, that I went and sat down and had those conversations. Hey, when you went through this, how did you get through it? What did you think about? Well, what was important? What should I be thinking about right now as I'm in the middle of it? And I kind of collected this external data that allowed me to inform my decision making and my understanding within myself. To your point, allow me to kind of think proactively and strategically around what I needed to do and how I needed to think about this next chapter of my life, to put me in the best position possible to be as successful as possible. Because at the end of the day, the more I can climb up and level up, the better I can help others around me, right? Those same opportunities and everything that was afforded to me were blessings. And I'm overflowing with blessings. So how do I go and use those to then give blessings to others, right? Okay. And bring others with me, right? And so that's all went down in this transition period that allowed me to stumble upon and realize and meet the team at T3 Advisors. And when I met T3 and I started learning about what they were doing in terms of, hey, commercial real estate for tech companies, hyper-focused, doing things differently that you've never seen in the market before. But more importantly, actually, to me early on was the who and the why behind it, right? Because T3 has effectively built an organization and a culture that literally incentivizes teamwork, right? Not only by how we're compensated, right? Every deal that we close as a team at T3, everybody gets paid on, right? Which in the commercial real estate market is unbelievable, right? It's historically the real estate market is you eat what you kill, right? No matter if we're on the same team or not, we're enemies. We're competing against each other. You close a deal, that's a deal that I missed out on, right? And that culture breeds, different things. There's pros and cons, right? T3 and our founders recognize that, hey, if we create a culture and a team that is full of good humans that align in the moral compass and want to work together and want to be incentivized to collaborate, that's when not only we can do the best in what we do, but we can provide the best service for our end user, which is the tech entrepreneur, right? So that notion of collaboration and teamwork and the culture of allowing me to get better every day myself, but also be rest assured that everyone is doing the same thing for the greater good of the common goal, that was huge, right? That checked one of my boxes, right? The fact that all we do is work with tech, I now get to build relationships in this ecosystem and talk to folks and help people save the world in their own specific way. Like, boom, check that box. I could go on and on, but long story for short, T3 checked most, if not all, of my boxes early on. So it was less about real estate and more about these core principles that I wanted to be a part of, that was going to allow me to thrive and love me to help others thrive. That was like, hey, sign me up. Put me in the game, coach. I'm ready. Absolutely.
I'm ready. So it sounded like to me you basically answered my next question in retrospect to what team means to you. So you didn't went from being raised in a household, okay, and in that household, that was a team right there in itself. Moms and pops, you laid that foundation. Then you ventured off and learned the basic fundamentals of how to play, team football. Not just in college, but it had to start in high school, and then it expanded to college. So now when you made that transition to the workforce, right, and you see ideally you wanted to be around people that had the same principles that started at home. So then what's interesting is, what are some of the team building tips that you share to others in order to let them know what type of person who you are today.
Definitely. No, and I think you hit the nail on the head, right? The teams that I've been a part of in each phase of my life, right? I think there's some core takeaways that I've learned that I like to share, and that I've allowed for success both in a football sense as well as in real estate and T3 and what we do. And those are, I think, one, starting with the goals and the values of the team, right? Why are we a team? What are we doing? And what are going to be the values to keep us on the right track, right? That steer us in the right direction when things go awry, right? So I think establishing the goals and the values of the team first and foremost, imperative, right? Because once you establish those, then you can start assessing, okay, what is needed from that team to accomplish those goals.
Give me an example.
Right. So an example would be, okay, for Stanford, right? I'll give them two examples. For Stanford football, right? The senior leadership would go and create a team covenant every year, right? And the team covenant would pretty much be our why as a team. What are we pursuing? And it would ultimately come down to, we want to win the Pac-12 championship. Because if we win the Pac-12 championship, that's in our control, and if we do that, that's going to put us in a great position to go to the Rose Bowl, the Pac-12. They have the college football playoff now, but back then it was just a BCS bowl was the end goal. But in order to do that, what was in our control was the Pac-12 championship. So the senior leaders would be like, hey, the Pac-12 championship is our goal as a team, all right? And what are our values to get there? And we would the senior leaders would come up with, okay, well, we want to have grit. We want to always do the right things all the right time when nobody's looking, right? And we kind of come up with some principles that allow us to stay guided towards that goal of winning the Pac-12 championship. And now once we have those goals and those values set, now people can start falling in line in their certain roles and their strengths based on their passions and what they're good at. Right? So you have an Andrew Luck, who is one of the best players in college football history, right? He feels good about his role of being the team leader, of being the quarterback, of running the show and rallying the troops, right? He feels good about that role, and he's great and passionate about that, and that's going to lead to helping out the team to reach our common goal, right? You take someone like me, my freshman year. Hey, I was a redshirt freshman, right? I wasn't gonna play, but I knew the goal and I knew the value of the team, and I knew how my role as the scout team player in practice was going to overall impact that goal that we were going to have at the end of the year.
Because you never knew when you was going to be called upon.
I never knew what I was going to be called upon, and I felt empowered. I felt empowered to lean into my role, whether or not I was a starter, a bench player, a scout team player, what it is. I felt empowered because I knew the goals and the values of our overall team. And once you start leaning into that, and everyone starts vibing, you start having success, it's addictive, right? And everyone starts working together. And once you see that, it's magic. It's magic, and you just want to get more of it and surround yourself with it and do whatever it takes for your teammate who you know is doing the same thing for the same goal.
Okay, so you've been with T3 Advisors for how long?
It was my 3-year anniversary a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So what is your management style?
That's a good question. I think for me it's a mix between consultative and like democratic, I would say, right? Like I think it's important, and I kind of take it from my experiences as well, as far as when I'm working with, with different leaders and managers, is I always want to feel empowered and being a part of the decision-making process. So when I'm managing, or if I'm leading a team or a group or discussion, I want everyone in the room to feel the same way. So I think it's a part of that, but it's also part of, I'm all about efficiency, right? And I think that's crucial to be able to make decisions in an effective, efficient way. And so as a leader, as a manager, you got to kind of pick and choose your punches of when you're going to do that, and say like, hey, I'm going to gather people's opinions and data and make sure they feel empowered to be a part of the process. But at the end of the day, this is the best decision, and everyone knows why I'm making that best decision for the group, and we can go and move on to the next goal, or the next objective or discussion, right? And then there's other times where it's like, hey, you know what? Let's open this up. Let's see what we got and what people think. So I think there's an appropriate mix and rhyme or reason for what style you lean towards, but I think based on who I am and my previous experiences, those are the two I usually fall under depending on the situation.
Have you had that experience where there was conflict in the decision-making process?
Ooh, definitely. I mean, I think what I've learned is not everyone thinks like me, right? Not everyone.
There's too many people on the planet.
Saying, right. That's not everyone thinks like me. Not everyone operates the same way. People have different viewpoints. There's and oftentimes there's no good or bad or right or wrong, right? It's really kind of diving deeper into. I think one, objectively the data around whatever decision is being made, but also the motivations or incentives, right? So for me, when I've seen conflict on a certain decision, the way I've tried to navigate it, and I'm continuing to try to get better every day and learn and grow, but the way I've tried to navigate it is really create an environment that allows everyone in the room or in the discussion to feel open and honest about truly what they're feeling and why they're feeling it, to get everything on the table so people know and put everything else aside, that say, hey, this is what we're disagreeing about and this is why we're disagreeing. Because once you get everything out on the table, it's crazy to see once people understand and kind of peel back those layers, they can go and make a decision or realize and empathize with the other person around, hey, I understand why you think that way. I don't necessarily agree, but because of X, Y, and Z, let's go with that and let's move forward so we can move on to the next.
You ever made a decision that put you in a situation where partners had to come and ask you, why'd you make that decision? Because it's cost us this?
Definitely. I think specifically for T3, a lot of our new business efforts and whatnot come with our relationships and growing our relationships with the venture capital community and the tech community, and oftentimes that comes with hosting events and sponsoring events and whatnot, and that comes with a cost. There's a cost associated with that, right? So there's been times where I've made a decision to give the green light on sponsoring a certain event or co-hosting an event that brings a group of people together that may or may not have been the correct decision at that point, right? And I've had to go and talk with my leadership around, hey, why did we make that decision? What was the return on that investment? What wasn't? And how did you go about that? And for me, early on, what I realized was I learned from certain mistakes in the sense that you don't every opportunity isn't the best opportunity, right? There was this eagerness about me that, when I got someone who wanted to be a client or I got someone who wanted to host an event, I always wanted to say yes, right? Because that's who I am. Once the chase, you get the chase and you go. But I realized that there's a power and importance to taking a step back, not always being on the go, and sitting down and be like, hey, let's assess this opportunity, and is it really the best opportunity or not for what we're trying to achieve? And I learned that through mistakes and talking with my leadership, and I give my leadership a pat on the back for allowing me to have those discussions and allowing me to come to those terms and those learnings through trial and error.
So one of the things that made me reflect on what you just said was the fact that when you make decisions at some point in time, it's also a correlation of the principles you live by. So what are they and why?
Definitely. It's funny. I had a big, I don't even know what you call it. It wasn't a poster, but it was I don't even know, but some on my wall.
A collage?
A collage. It was like a drapery, whatever it is, tapestry. It was a big one on my wall that was a quote by Mother Teresa that was it's like there's the three most important things in life are 1, to be kind, 2, to be kind, and 3 to be kind, right? Like that was it, right? And to me, that was so simple and straightforward, but so powerful in the sense that like I just want to be a good person and a good human, and always err on the side of kindness to everyone I meet, no matter who they are and where they come from, because we all have different circumstances and opportunities, and when
Absolutely, that's how we met.
that's it, right. It's just, I think overall kindness and being kind all the time is one that I hold true to my heart. I think on the other side, through my athletics and business pursuits, there's one saying that we always used to say in football was, you're either getting better or you're getting worse, right? You're never staying the same, right? And that always held true in football, in the sense that if you weren't working on your craft, and if you weren't getting better, and if you weren't challenging yourself, if you weren't working hard in the weight room, if you weren't going and running routes and catching passes, you weren't getting better. So if you weren't getting better, you're getting worse, right? And you don't want to get worse, right? You want to get better for yourself, for the team, and whatnot. And I take that with me to not only my work life, but also my personal life, and with my family and my relationships, is always being cognizant of building and improving and trying to be the best I can be for the different people I am to others, if that makes sense, right? I'm an older brother to my younger brother. I'm a younger brother to my sister. I'm a son to my parents. I'm a colleague to my teammates. I'm a friend to you, right? How can I work to improve every day to be the best version of myself for all the family and friends in my ecosystem that I surround myself with? So that would be the second one, and then the last one, I think, ties the first two together, in the sense that it's like, there's this philosopher, John Rawls, who talks about, he calls like the difference principle, and it's, I don't want to get into the nitty and gritty of it, but to me, what I took away from it, and I studied this at Stanford a little bit, but he has this concept that economic disparity or inequality can be okay in certain circumstances, and those circumstances are if the top continue to get higher, if it's attached to whoever's on the bottom, if all ships rise, that's when you get this serendipitous moment of our economy, where if I continue to get better every day myself, and I continue to level up, and I'm kind throughout the process, that's going to allow me to help whoever is at the bottom and may or may not have the opportunities or the support system to do the same. I can be that. I can attach those two ends of the spectrum, so everybody rises, so everyone gets better, so everyone's excited for everyone leveling up. So those are kind of three, and they all kind of intermix, but the combination of those three kind of guide kind of how I operate and how I move forward.
Well, one of the things I also like to say is congratulations on your new promotion.
Appreciate it.
And taking on this new task, that's something that's going to be real big for you. Really big. How do you plan to approach building trust in a new environment and new people? Because in team building, one of the things that is very important is communication. And people are going to be very observant to look for any flaw that one may have. So where's that trust factor going to start from?
Definitely. So and for those that may or may not know, so I just got I accepted an offer within T3 to go run the show in our New York office, which I'm extremely grateful for and excited about. And so moving to New York, the biggest commercial real estate market in the country, one of the biggest ones in the world. This influx of venture capital money and tech entrepreneurs and startups and whatnot. You're starting to see this perfect storm for what we bring to the table. And in terms of your question around trust and team building, to your point, I think it's crucial, right? I think it's crucial. And for the lay of the land of our team out there, we have 3 amazing women on the team right now that I'm going to come and work with and be a part of, and I'm going to be empowered to hire 2 to 3 more folks on that team as well, to kind of have a team of 6 or 7 to run and take over the world together with. But in order to build trust, I believe it's important for me to, 1, practice what I preach, to effectively communicate and structure not only my but our team's goals and values, right? Like we talked about earlier, and really be upfront in creating that environment that allows us to effectively communicate with each other around, okay, here are our roles, here are our motivations, right? Here are how we're gonna attack things together. These are our strengths and these are our weaknesses. This is how I need to be supported. This is how I need, you to be supported, right? And having that clear line of communication, bolstered by me leading by example, hopefully creates and cultivates those behaviors that bolster that trust over time.
Well, Mr. Stallworth III, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate you.
Not only in sharing your values, but most importantly, giving people the tips and understanding on how to team build.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the time.
Before we close this deal, be looking for Cheryl Parks to be on the show to share you some information and some insight, and not only in her profession, but through her own experience in business as a professional. We would love to hear from you. If you have suggestions or questions, or even want to apply to be a guest on the Close the Deal Show, go to www.theclosethedealshow.com. San Francisco Bay Area, LA. You can watch us every Monday night on cable Comcast on channel 29, SFC, TV, for those that streamline it. But locally in San Francisco, channel 29, 8:30 p.m. Worldwide, the Close the Deal Show on YouTube. Just type my name, Terrence McCray, or click my picture. Please subscribe, like, and comment on your favorite episode. Take good care, everyone, and don't forget, find the right connection and close the deal.